guys, welcome back to our weekly Wednesday Fast Track Money YouTube live session. And today our topic is how to grow your wealth in your 30s. And last week we talked about how to grow your wealth in your 20s. What's different is that now when people progress to their 30s, they have different family obligations. They might start to found a family. They might have promotions at their work, right? So now how can you manage your wealth smartly? This is what we're going to talk about today. And if this is your first time coming here, I'm Yasi. I'm the creator behind Fast Track Podcast, and we are a content platform. There I talk everything about entrepreneurship, money, and career. So you can find everything on fasttrack.live. And my co-host for Fast Track Money YouTube live session is financial imagineer aka Matthias, and he is the creator behind this amazing blog called Financial Imagineer.
Thank you, Yasi.
Why I say it's amazing, because many other people might be on a journey, experience it, learning it, sharing it, and he has actually learned it, done it, and achieved it. So when he was 37 years old, he achieved financial freedom because of all the work that he has done in his previous like teens and early 20s and the early 30s. And that's why he had this freedom. So he's teaching you how to create more freedom in life using money as a tool. And as a result of that, we created a course called Fast Track Money. There we just packed everything Matthias has learned in his life, has practices, has proven, and everything I have learned, I have implemented, I have also proven, that we pack everything in this 6 modules course to teach you everything you need to know so that you can set your life on the right track, or we call it fast track, to achieve financial freedom. So to cut story short, and today, as usual, our passion is to helping you understand how to manage your money, financial education, and then especially if you're watching this in your 30s, be sure to pay attention to what Matthias is going to teach you today. So I'm going
Also,
to
Yasi is also going to teach you a lot.
I'm going to
Sorry.
share my personal experience. Don't make that mistakes I made in the past.
Welcome to the show. Today is all about when is the best time to get started investing, right? I think we said already last time, the very best time is, of course, when you are born or even before you are born, but maybe you are here now, you're in your 30s. It's not too late. The second best time to get started is right now. So this is the key message here. It's not too late. However, last week we talked about 20s. So in your 20s, you kind of form your character. We talked about habits. We talked about becoming yourself, finding yourself, finishing your education, starting your job, all these things, how this can determine who you will become later in life. If you haven't watched it, you can go back here on YouTube or on all the channels. The session is still there. Please look at it. Now, today we talk about the 30s. This is like one step later. So imagine you started into life. It's like playing the game of life. And now you enter the 30s. And in the 30s, most people, not everyone, they kind of advance in their job. They usually earn a little bit more money as well. They sometimes get married, right? So they find a partner. Some people do that earlier, some later, some never. Doesn't matter. But usually what happens or what that means is in your 30s, your financial responsibilities usually grow. It could also be because you start to take care of your parents in a way, right? Sometimes you are like this, becoming like from child, you move into a sandwich position and you help on both sides. Also, you could become parent. Suddenly there's 1, 2, 3 kids that look at you and expect you to know everything, pay for everything, provide everything. And still here we are talking about how to save more and invest more. And the key message I want to give to you is, number one, like I said before, it's not too late. Number two, you have to stay the course. Whatever you worked on, who you have become in your 20s, this is who you should actually work on to further improving in your 30s. Do not give up. Do not fall. There are so many traps out there, which I have seen firsthand. People spending more money. Yes, Yasi, please.
So now I'm in my 30s, and when I was in my 20s, and even before I understand how it works, how the money thing works, those are the traps that I'm going to name it out. and leave in the comments if you agree. So first, when you progress to your early 30s or 30s, you get promoted. Now you're a manager or director, even VP. As a result, you have more salary. And now all your colleagues in your VP managers level, they started to buy fancy cars. They started to buy expensive suits. They started to go on expensive holidays. So instead of staying in the 5-star, a 3-star hotel, now people travel 5-star hotel. Or even instead of traveling with economy class, now people traveling with business class. So leave in the comment if you feel that. And secondly, back then you live in Singapore in the past, right? So in Singapore during the lunchtime, you go to a hawker center. It costs like 3, 4, 5 Sing dollar to have a lunch. And now, since you're a manager, senior VP, and now you earn so much money, you don't go to hawker center anymore, right? You go to the restaurants to have the lunch menu. You spend 20 per day on the lunch, right? Maybe you also feel like, I should not take public transportation. I should not catch the bus. I can take Uber, Grab, taxi home because I made it in life now. So I think it's this the traps is that when I would just say from my personal experience and observation that when you grow as a person or when you grow with your career, that your salary grows, and then maybe you might feel like you deserve it because you worked so hard in the last decade. But this is the trap. Why? Because now you are going to inflate your lifestyle, which means your future financial, how do you say, the wealth will suffer. It's a huge
potential wealth. Yeah, the potential wealth you can accumulate during your lifetime will be impacted in a negative way, right? So
yes.
you could have made it much higher, or instead of higher, you could be at your goal much earlier.
Exactly. That's a very, very well said. Potential wealth. Why it's potential? Because that's the wealth you could have, but then you let it go from the 5-star hotel, from the business class, from the lattes every day. That's why it's potential.
Yeah. Easy come, easy go. Some people, they earn more money. The first thing they think, oh, I worked so hard, I deserved it. I go for the new car. I need to, or you compare yourself with others. You say, this guy has such a good vacation. I also need to have that vacation.
Yeah.
And you forget about, like, the grass is always greener on the other side for humans. However, humans tend to compare for the very green grass that is somewhere very far, and which is, how to say, like, in a way it's interesting. You try to move forwards, you try to be better, but it's not making you happy per se. I'm not saying here you got to stick to do nothing at all, right? Don't get me wrong, but sometimes to kind of hold back a little bit, or to increase that part a little bit later, or to be more savvy about it. Like what Yasi just said, if you have the restaurant choices, you have a little food store that costs like $5 or less per meal, and you have the restaurant for $20 to $30. Just because all your manager friends always go to the $30 doesn't mean you have to do the same thing. You can adjust as well.
If you feel embarrassed, or if you feel standing out, I let Matthias to say the classic sentence.
Well, no, the very classic thing probably is do your own thing, right? You don't do what everyone does, and that's maybe the very classic here. If you do what everyone does, you will get what everyone gets. Exactly. And this sounds so easy, but if you just go about life doing exactly what the people around you do, and you expect to have something more or different than that's wrong, right? If you want to have a different result than average, you have to do something away from average.
Now I want to do the highlight here. Unfortunately, we cannot do the words pop up. So just imagine we talk about how to build wealth in your 30s. Avoid trap number 1, lifestyle inflation. Avoid trap number 2, fall into the average. Again, spend on things that because everybody else is doing it. So if you want to achieve a result, which is accumulate wealth, it's okay if you do something different. So what would be the third advice you want to give it to people to accumulate wealth while they're still in their 30s?
Well, the third one, I think super important and also very often overlooked, is never stop learning. People come out of university or whatever school it was you were last time, and there is like 90 something percent of the people after that never go back to school. Not everyone, but there's so many of them. They never go back to school. They do not look to grow further, right? And if you are the person who say, well, yeah, I still want to learn something, I want to do something else, I want to explore, I want to grow also personally, the 30s should not be the time where it stops. And very simple, if you keep going there, you have some momentum and you keep improving, and you can also improve on other things. Don't just hear like education means I have to go for my MBA or my CFA or whatever designation it is. It could also be to learn personal finance. It could be to learn something completely out of the box, because if you master something else, you could later diversify your income streams. You could become a diving teacher. You could become a driving teacher. You could become a language exchange teacher or something. You could even build up your side hustle and make a business out of it later. So also entrepreneurship. I know there are courses in university, they teach you business school, how to be an entrepreneur and so on. But I think nothing beats to try it yourself, to feel it, to do it. And I think the 30s should be any time in life, I say. You should actually push yourself to once in a while try something new, something you haven't done. So the question here is, when was the last time you did something new for the very first time?
Let's take a moment, wait for our audience, write in the comment. When's the last time you did something new?
And what was it? What did you do? And did it kind of inspire you? Did you grow from that? Did it motivate you? I mean, that's it. Keep learning. That's the number 3 message.
What about you? Well, when's the last time you did something that is new?
I think this year I did a lot of new things. Like we started a YouTube channel. We started to do this camera thing. I keep doing new stuff all the time. I opened the shop on my website. You can buy this yellow hoodie if you like it. You can change the color to pink or whatever. On my website, it's all for sale. I didn't have that shop last year. We start the money course, right? We try new things. And every time I feel a little bit older, probably, right? But there's still enough time to learn new things. If you say, I'm too old for that, I'm too old for this, that's when you stop getting to learn new stuff. And that's where you stop to engage with the generations after you. Just look at stupid example, maybe like grandparents or great grandparents who do not know how to use a smartphone, or who are like, don't even have a computer. They are like away from what's going on in the online world. And this exists right today.
Exactly. And one unique thing about learning in your 30s, I think it's, for example, for people who are in their 20s, you graduated from university or even MBA, and now you're ready to get some real life working experience, right? And you gain like 5 years, 7 years working experience. But then what's after that? If you want to keep growing, either professionally or with your own personal life, you have to learn some other skills that is not taught in school. For example, money skills, right?
Yes.
Or some, I don't know, some other soft skills or emotional intelligence, or how to network, how to present, how to do presentation, things like that. And at this moment, maybe you don't have kids at home, or maybe you have young children at home, and probably you might not have a huge financial burden yet. And then this is the time for you to experiment and try it out. Like you mentioned earlier on, side hustles or startup business, right? Even with startup business, I think if you have enough savings from your 20s, and you can give yourself 1 year or 2 year breaks just to try a new business, or you do it on the side to grow your side hustles, maybe it will become very successful, then you can take over as your main hustle. So I think the point we want to make here is that with this unique age group, you still have a very strong learning capability. You might not have huge obligation yet in life, and you should be able to squeeze some time out to develop yourself, and which set a basic foundation for later on in life.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah, make the most out of it. Time doesn't come back. We all don't know how much time we have left. And just natural progression of things, how they are as you move on in life, the remaining time you have is getting shorter and shorter. We all don't know how much is left, but and therefore the lesser time you have in your time account, the more valuable it gets, because you have to spend time or invest time to sell it, to rent your time, to get a salary eventually, right? So I think managing your money should be number one thing still, to look at what can you do with what you have. There's a lot of people, they sit on assets, maybe they inherit something also in the 30s, right? And they don't know what to do. They just sit on it and
Yeah,
don't know how to handle it. And they don't go
yeah,
and they don't get uncomfortable, so to say, to
yeah.
learn what to do with that.
How
And I
about
think that's
let's
a big mistake.
show them the simulation. I have it ready.
Hmm.
Just to show you that even you start in your 30s to learn the money skill, to start investing, you can still make a huge difference in life. So I have my screen sharing. Can you see
Yes,
it?
here we go. Hmm.
All right. So here is this that I like a lot. Imagine you are in your 30, and then you retire at, let's say, 65. But probably by the time, if you continue working, by the time when you retire, probably the age will be 70. Who knows? Let's just say this thing I like to take is 10%, because today I did some research about S&P 500 ETFs. I think if it's just the simplest thing ever, if people just keep investing it over 10, 20, 30, 40 years, it will be around 8, 9, 10%. Let's just take 10% for the purpose of the illustration. Imagine you don't have anything savings right now. You still have a job, no savings, nothing is invested. Just make 100, let's just try 100 per month, and try to invest in it for 35 years. Let's see how it goes. So you would have 325,000 by the time when you're 65. And then imagine,
Hey, that's almost 10 times as much as you pay in, right?
exactly, it's almost
That's
10 times. And then imagine you don't do this Starbucks latte. You don't spend 30 bucks on lunch every day. Just imagine if you earn well, and now you can commit 1,000. If imagine if you and your partner both are double income, and you
mm.
are okay, to optimize your expenses, you invest 1,000 per month. Just imagine, let's have a guess. How much will you have when you're 65 years old? So I give you five
I think
seconds.
I would add a zero. I would add a zero.
You would add a zero at the end.
Yes, but
Of
I don't
course,
want to spoil it. Okay.
of course, of course. It's the same compound effect. But yes, of course. Yeah, so but then now you have like a 3.2 million. You see, it's
Uh,
the same. It's like a 9 times more, or 8 times more compared to what you put in, but the absolute number is giant. It's 3.2 million when you're 65 years old. That's a
yeah.
lot of money.
And now you imagine you get a bonus every once in a while, and instead of spending and splurging it all, you try to put half of it
Okay,
aside again,
let's
right?
just put 3,000 bonus
Yeah,
into
that's
your
like
yearly investment.
15,000. Not a
Oh
lot, right?
yeah,
Oh,
oh,
wow, 4
yeah.
million. Hey, that's 800,000 more.
Yeah. So in 35 years, when you're 65, you say, okay, I have 4 million. I can even pass on to my children. Now we talk about even generational wealth.
Yeah, that could
Um,
be for a later session.
yes, yes.
Yeah, but then
So
it's more than enough. Financial abundance.
mhm. And then if you say, okay, I don't want to wait till 65. Okay, so you are still in your 30s. Let's just say, oh, maybe I can retire in my 50s. Let's just say 25 years, right? You buy
Mm,
yourself 10 years. You can still end it up with almost 1.5 million at the end of the day, which is not bad at all.
yeah. And then you can think maybe this has to be working for you for another 10 years before some of the people will get social security or other things, right? Depending on how much you believe this will still be there for you. This could be like a bridging function, or it could be a way to reduce your workload at a certain age, or try to go back to that, try something new, try to do your own business. live your
Yeah.
freedom, right?
Yeah, just imagine the colleagues who goes to fancy vacations, to go to this buy $30 lunch every single day,
Hmm.
and you bring your own lunch to the office, and then 25 years later you say bye, I'm already retired. I think, would you choose to have the $30 lunch every single day, or would you choose to have 1.5 million asset when you are 50 and you can retire 10, 15 years earlier, so you can make your own
Mm.
decisions in life?
It's just about, you have to have a few years in life to live a life the others are not willing to live, and then later you can live a life the others are like craving to live, and you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, maybe it sounds a little bit like rough, but let's
Yeah.
put it in perspective. You Let's just put things in perspective. It's not rough life. You are spending
Yeah,
$30
correct. Yeah.
on lunch, on taxi every day, right? If you
Hmm.
cut it to 10, if you bring your lunch to your office, or if you just take public transportation, make it also a habit. Don't think like a sacrifice. Everybody else does it. Why it's a
Mm.
sacrifice? And it's $20 per day. In a week is 100. In a month is 400 to 500. Actually, in a year, it's already like 4,800, like 5,000. And you have no sacrifice in life. You are just living like a normal life. Instead of inflating your lifestyle, you are just keeping it the same, or inflate a
Yeah.
little bit, not so fast. So you don't make any sacrifice in life. You are just living responsibly for your financial future.
Mm.
Because I want to
And also,
highlight
I
this.
think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because a lot of people think, oh, I have to eat noodles every day. I have to live a miserable life just to save, save,
yeah,
save.
it's
But
not like
that's
that.
like
It's not like that.
misconception. Yeah.
It's sometimes also a very easy thing of breaking your habits. Like, go to which supermarket do you go? Do you actually look at the price of your groceries? Do you look at this? Do you look at that? And that's where it's important to do a budget, right? I think when you are just in your 20s, we talk about how to do a budget last time as well. If you're in the 30s, do the budget again, look at it again. Don't stop doing the budget, update it, and figure out where does your money come from and where does it flow. And if
Mhm.
you manage to increase the gap between how much comes in and how much goes out, you can put it, this is like free cash flow to your dreams, I call it. It's
Yeah.
like money that you can put into anything you like.
I think, and one more point I want to add on here is, now if you're watching this YouTube live, you might start to think, maybe that's interesting, maybe something you should think about to take actions. And why I want to highlight this next point is, I'm going to show you the screen again. um, so do you remember before we talk about, in your 30s, you, let's say 15,000 per year, you stay invested, and in your 50s, you retire with 1.5 million, right? Let's
Mm.
say you say, oh, Yasi, I'm so busy, now I got a new job. I need to learn everything. I don't have time to learn like personal finance. I don't have time to learn how to use money. I don't have time for that. I'm so busy with my job. Okay, yes, you are busy with your job. Let's just say in your 40s, you started to realize that, oh, I need to invest. This is important. So let's cut it down to 10 years. Now you have 10 years less. So you have 1.5 million, retires 10 years earlier. And now later, you just have less than 500,000 because you started 10
Mm.
years later.
The money still doubles, but yeah, that's it. There's no more super compound magic. So the
Yeah,
message of this chart is, the earlier you start, the more time do you have to give to your investments to work for you. Think of your money and your investments as your soldiers, your army. It's the better you direct them, the better you put them to work, the harder you let them work for you, the less hard you have to work.
exactly. And I really want to urge everybody who is watching this, if you are looking at this chart, I hope it triggers some thoughts. I
Mm.
hope you start to think, maybe I should do something right now. Again, we talk about opportunity costs, right? Like if you
Mm.
don't take action right now, if you take action a year later, means you're losing out 1 year's compound, which could end it up in a huge amount, let's say
Yeah, yeah.
20 years later. So yeah, act now, take action now.
Also in the news now, you see a lot of governments are indebted. They need money, right? And retirement ages are increasing, right? Just today I saw in the newspaper again, they want to put retirement age up to 66. And then later in Switzerland, they even want to index it to the life expectancy. What does it mean? If everyone lives another 2-3 years, you work 2-3 years more, right? It could be fair, but that thing is like, if you depend, or if you choose to depend on what the government will prepare for you, if you think I can do something myself, then of course maybe you can say that that's what they prepare for me. That's my fail safe. That's like the worst case scenario. But if I try to do something before that, I can do it myself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about don't be the victim of lifestyle inflation.
Yes.
We talk about, continue learning personal finance, learning money skills, learning other soft skills that's going to help you level up professionally or
Mm.
personal development. And then we talk about the power of acting now. Start investing in your 30s. You still have the runway. Luckily, you still have the runway to compound, right, your investment.
Yeah.
And any other points you want to add in?
Just emphasize the 30s could be the decade of your traps. Try to identify the traps before you may fall into them. And it's really, really easy to fall into these traps because life around you is very often very comfortable. The job is going smooth. You get more money. Everything works as you planned. But actually, the hamster wheel or this kind of system is also designed to give you just a bigger carrot at the end of the year. If your boss will come and say, look, if you work harder, you make another 30%, then next year you can get this promotion, you can get a bigger bonus, and so forth. And then what for? I think the final point here is knowing how much is enough. Before we talk about 1.5 million, 3 million, and 4 million, I think in order to make a good decision here, it's very crucial to know how much would be enough for me and to have clarity on that. So to close that, if you see this big carrot and so on, and it's like a game in a way, right? If you run and you sweat and you do it, you probably get your promotion, you get your salary raise, yada yada, life is good. But then next year again and again and again, it's like a Groundhog Day, the movie. You wake up every year again to the same movie.
It's a good
It's
movie.
boring. Yeah,
It's
and
a
then
good
one day
movie.
you will be. The movie is good, yeah, but I.
Maybe if you don't want to live like that, then you need to start to check out the link in description below.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. And I think there's so many things you can do to avoid this from happening, and it's in your hands, right? And then knowing how much is enough to come to that point. We have in the US, they made the Trinity study with the rule of 4%. Universities checked if you have a pure investment portfolio, 100% in the SP 500 with ETFs, you can withdraw safely about 4% from your portfolio every year. And that's from the starting point. Sometimes it drops, sometimes it goes up. And this portfolio will, with a certainty of 99.9%, not deplete. It will not deplete. Even like the Great Depression, the oil crisis, the financial crisis, it will not go to zero. That means rule of 4%, how much is that? It's about 25 times your expenses you need to cover. So it's a 25 times rule or 4% rule. 1 million, 25 times 40,000, or 4% of 1 million is 40,000, right? So for each million that you have working for you, you can calculate roughly 40,000 income. And also, do not be afraid. This Trinity study took into consideration inflation. So if inflation comes, that's a no-brainer. It's a part of this calculation as well. If now inflation is at 4% or 5%, of course, the assets in average will also increase in price because everything gets more expensive, including stocks, real estate, everything, right? It's just what is losing value is probably your salary. If you don't have a salary raise that at least matches inflation, which is currently at 5%, you actually do have less purchasing power at the end of the year. Things like that. And then when you know how much is enough, you can take it more relaxed. You can say, I want to have a buffer. I don't need a buffer. And then you can make a plan.
This Trinity study is very well known and very
Mm.
classic. Maybe if this is your first time hearing about it, you might have a lot of
Yeah, sorry,
question mark.
was
Yeah,
very brief.
yeah, very a lot of question mark. But if you are interested to know more, you can book a call with us. So
Mm.
just find it on fasttrack.life/money course. There you can make a booking for like 30 minutes discovery call. If you know that the guys who have done it, who has used everything on themselves and achieve results, and you want to enroll in the course, feel free to check it out in the description below, fasttrackmoney.live/money course. There we also talk about Trinity study, how it works and why it works, and how you can use it to your advantage and achieve more freedom. And with that, if there's no more questions coming from the audience, I hope that we kind of trigger some thoughts. If you are in your 30s, think about your spendings. Are you the victim of lifestyle inflation? Where you want Do you want to start investing? Do you want to learn money skills? And everything that's you do today will have a huge impact later in life because of the compound, the power of compound.
Also, maybe people who watch videos like this, I have to say, probably you are some of the ones who already do a lot of your homework and you do a lot of things the right way. If you believe you know some friends and colleagues that probably would need some more education, you can share this video, ask them to have a look, and also come and check out our other things and blogs.
Yeah.
We are here to try to spread this knowledge and try to inspire or finspire you to have a better life, your dream life.
I like the Finspire. All right. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. And if you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. If you want to, book a private session, feel free to go to the website, make a booking, and we're here to help you. And then see you next week. We will have very, very exciting topic, which is about being a global nomad capitalist and achieving the ultimate freedom. And we'll have a special guest.
Yeah, very, very special guest. Very happy to have this show, and you will be happy to watch it. Lots of things to learn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.